Welcome. In this video, let us look at what is a relation between partition function of a system and properties of the particles contained in it. Previously, we have derived partition function for different ensembles. We derived a partition function for a canonical ensemble and grand canonical ensemble. Using that partition function, one can calculate different thermodynamic parameters, and by knowing what is the relation between partition function and particles contained within it, we can establish the relation between the thermodynamic parameters and the individual particles. For a simplicity, here we are considering a ideal gas system. Why? The ideal gas system is very simple, and initial steps, and since it's a very beginning of a statistical mechanics, it becomes a very easy to handle the system. And another advantage with the ideal gas system is the particles are totally independent. They are not interacting within themselves, and further complexities associated with the different kind of a systems can be added one by one to ideal gas system. And the results what we are going to get by incorporating complexities with a system to this ideal gas system, it is going to be comfortably compared with the experimental results obtained. Therefore, we consider a ideal gas system. And ideal gas system, it containing a same kind of a particles, that is, we say identical species. Consider a ideal gas or consisting n number of particles. We are indicating with the capital N, and this is n number of particles are contained in a volume V maintained at a temperature T. All the particles are identical, and they are independent, not interacting with each other. Let us denote them initial some particles as a B, C, and so on. There are a large number of particles. If we consider a 1 mole of any gas, it consists of Avogadro number of particles. For understanding purpose, just let us denote them as a B, C, and there are a large number of particles. And from a quantum mechanics, the Hamiltonian of a system H is a sum of Hamiltonians of all the particles. If HA, HB, HC and so on are Hamiltonians of a individual particles, then H is equal to HA plus HB plus HC and so on, as given in equation 1. And since these particles are not interacting with each other, again according to quantum mechanics, the eigenfunction of a whole system psi is a product of eigenfunctions of individual particles. Eigenfunctions of individual particles, they are denoted as a psi A, psi B, psi C and so on. And here the product, that is resulting into eigenfunction of a whole system. Psi is equal to psi A into psi B into psi C and all the products, forming the equation 2. The Schrodinger equation for the system is H psi is equal to E psi, which is equation 3. Here E is a energy eigenvalue of the system which represents a total energy of a system. and if psi A, psi B, psi C, epsilon A, epsilon B, epsilon C, etc. are energy eigenvalues of the constituent particles respectively, then the Schrodinger equation for individual particles can be written as per in equation 4. And now substituting these equations in a 4 into equation 3, that is LHS of equation 3, we get H psi is equal to HA plus HB plus HC so on into psi A into psi B into psi C and product of all the eigenfunctions. And now that expression is here, and some rearrangements are made in this equation, and this results into this equation. And now we can write it as H psi is equal to E psi, where E is equal to epsilon A plus epsilon B plus epsilon C and sum of all energy eigenvalues of particles into psi A into psi B into psi C and at all. And here capital E is a energy eigenvalue of a system, and now it is a sum of energy eigenvalues of a constituent particles. And it is not necessary to solve not necessary to solve a Schrodinger equation for a whole system. It is sufficient to solve Schrodinger equation for a one particle. The same rule can be followed in a statistical mechanics also. We are applying it in a later steps. Now the system of n particles, that is a system of ideal gas, is a let us consider it as a canonical ensemble. A partition function of that canonical ensemble Q is equal to summation of exponential of minus EI by KT, forming a equation 6, where K is a Boltzmann's constant and T is a temperature, and here I runs from 1, 2, 3 so on up to number of systems in a ensemble, and EI is a energy of a ith system in the ensemble. By quantum mechanical concept, the energy of a microsystem is a sum of energies of constituent particles. Therefore, we can write energy of each system in a microsystem of a canonical ensemble as sum of energy eigenvalues of individual particles, as written in this equation 7. And here 1, 2, 3 so on, they represent a different microsystems of a ensemble. And now substituting these equations of 7 in a equation 6, that is a partition function of a system. Here we have a expressions, rearrangements in the substitutions, and after the rearrangement we are going to get this Q is equal to product of many terms. See here, Q earlier it was a summation, now it has become a product, and here each individual product, this or an individual term, it is representing QA, QB, QC and so on. There are capital N number of terms. And here QA, QB, QC, these are single particle partition functions obtained by summing over a energy states of individual particles. Now the partition function of a whole system, it is a product of the partition functions of particles contained in the system. Capital Q is equal to QA, QB, QC and so on. A particle in a gas, so remember this, the partition function of a system of n number of particles which are totally independent is equal to product of partition function of all the particles. It's a product of partition functions of all the particles. A particle in a gas is free to move. Therefore, it has got a translational motion. The particle may be atom or a molecule. If it's a molecule, it has got some other kind of a motions also. Even atom has got a electronic motions associated with apart from a translatory motion. The particle can have translatory motion or rotational motion because the particle may be rotating. We don't consider a rotational motion for an atom because it's a rotation in a space. You can say see it with any angle, it appears to be the same. That is because of isotropic space. And the particle, if it's a molecule, then the atoms in the molecule may be vibrating. Therefore, there is a vibrational motion associated with the particle. And every particles, they contain atoms. And because of that, there is a possibility of a electronic motion also. If we supply energy, the particles will absorb energy that is imparted to electrons, and the electron may jump to higher energy state and it will come back. So this kind of electronic motions are possible with all the particles because ultimately there are atoms. Because of all four types of motions, a particle can be associated with the translational energy, rotational energy, vibrational energy and electronic energy. Since a time period of all these motions differ by order of 10 raised to 3 seconds. That is, if you see the electronic time period, excited time period is 10 raised to minus 15 to 10 raised to minus 12 seconds. Vibrational time periods are of order of 10 raised to minus 10 to 10 raised to minus 9 seconds. And rotational time period is of microseconds. So here these energies, these time periods of all these motions, they differ by thousands of time. Therefore, according to Born-Oppenheimer approximation, we can decouple all these motions. That is, there is no interaction between the motions of these motions of particles. That is, if a particle is rotating and vibrating, the rotational motion is not at all interfering a vibrational motion. Normally, if we see someone sees if there is a elastic binding in the particles, then the rotational motion has to affect a vibrational motion. When the particle starts rotating faster and faster, the bond length has to increase. But here we are not considering that kind of a interaction, because the time periods are very different. And Born Oppenheimer, they showed quantum mechanically that one can easily decouple those motions, and we can consider those motions as a totally independent. Since these motions are independent, we can write a Hamiltonian of a particle as a sum of a Hamiltonians of a particle associated with these four kind of motions. Therefore, Hamiltonian of a particle, here I am writing again a H for a Hamiltonian, but this H is for a particle. Hamiltonian of a particle is equal to H translatory motion, that is H trans. It indicates a Hamiltonian due to translatory motion. And H vibration, it indicates a Hamiltonian of a vibratory motion. And similarly, H rotatory represents a Hamiltonian due to a rotational motion. And H electron, it represents a Hamiltonian due to electronic motion, as given in this equation 9. Also, energy of particles due to these all motions can be written as sum of energies by energies of these different kinds of motions. So therefore, energy of a particle is equal to translatory energy plus vibratory energy plus rotatory energy plus electronic excitation energy. Using a previous theory, we did this. And as we derived previously, that partition function of a whole system is a product of partition functions of contained particles. That came out because Hamiltonian of a whole system is sum of Hamiltonians of individual particles, and the energy eigenvalue of a system is sum of energy eigenvalues of individual particles. And the same thing here, as in equation 9 and 10, we can use that here also, and we can write the partition function of a particle is equal to product of partition function due to all these four kinds of motions. Therefore, partition function of a particle is equal to translatory partition function into vibratory partition function into rotational partition function into electronic excitation partition function, as given in this equation 11. Now let us see how different energies, these different energies are associated with the thermodynamic quantities in a next section. And before that, single particle energy levels are obtained from quantum mechanical analysis of particle motion. Some energy levels may be degenerated, as you have seen in a Zeeman effect, or even you can see a atom containing a one valence electron. Every upper energies are doubly degenerate, except S. All the energy levels, they are splitted into two. And if there is a Gj of degeneracy, then one has to count that energy level that many number of time. Therefore, partition function of a particle q is equal to sum of Gj. That is Gj, we took that there are different energy levels with a different number of degeneracy. Therefore, that J has included. This expression 10. So this is when degeneracy is associated with the different energy levels. Then the gas in which all the n particles are of same species, that is a system may be containing different kind of particles, but we are considering a system wherein all the particles are one and the same, identical. They may be either oxygen atoms, or they may be argon or argon atoms, or neon atoms, or they may be ammonia molecules. But here the combination is not allowed. That is, argon plus neon is not allowed. If the whole system consists of identical species, that is same particles, then partition function of a whole system is equal to product of partition functions of all are contained particles. And since all those particles are identical, one and the same, we can write capital Q, partition function of a system, is equal to small q raised to n when there are a n number of particles. And here small q is indicating a partition function of a particle. And this is about relation between a partition function of a system and partition function of a individual particles.